This attack caught the Ukrainian side by surprise. The Russians went on the offensive. First, a tank showed up, then another from the other flank. They were maneuvering unpredictably. The Ukrainians spotted multiple armored personnel carriers, infantry, and even motorcyclists. Ukrainian drones are monitoring all enemy movements. They know their location and targets. The task of the AFU drones is to prevent this from happening, and they're doing a good job. It was a tough and unpredictable battle. But ultimately, the enemy was destroyed. Don't go anywhere, because in this video, we're going to show you this complex, fascinating, and unpredictable fight. First assault. Russian APCs move to attack Ukrainian positions in the Toretsk sector. A drone strikes one APC. The target starts to smoke, but still continues to move. The second drone is already following the APC. After that, they can't be stopped either. The Ukrainians watch it carefully. Another attack. The vehicle keeps moving. Two APCs manage to reach the settlement. One of them stops right after crossing the defensive line. Soldiers dismount. Trying to avoid mines, the APC leaves the road and deploys its infantry. The APC is slowly turning around. The Russians don't suspect anything. They don't know that a Ukrainian drone is hovering over them. Russian soldiers spread out among buildings, looking for cover. They all scatter to what they think are safe corners. One of them tries using roofing sheets as makeshift armor. Now Ukrainian artillery and a reaction team move in. That's a Ukrainian tank, waiting for the Russian vehicle to finish detonating. And here come Russian soldiers. The Ukrainian tank advances and begins destroying buildings. They collapse like houses of cards. The tank does its job excellently. And here's the carrier that stopped in the trees. First attack. The carrier is engulfed in flames. It's destroyed. And here's the very first one disabled in this assault. It's destroyed as well. Attempt number 2. This time, the Russians bring more hardware. The lead APC in the column comes under attack. The second hit is fatal. It moves a bit farther and stops, standing still. But the column keeps going. Another APC is halted. The Ukrainians finish it off. Out of the entire column, only 2 vehicles make it to the settlement. One hits a mine and explodes. The other pulls up next to the burning carrier, but doesn't dare go any farther. Russian infantry dismounts and spreads out. The Ukrainians strike the APC. Artillery starts destroying buildings. A series of powerful explosions rock the area. And it hits the APCs too. Another assault has failed. The Ukrainians spot a Russian tank. It's moving straight toward the Ukrainians. At first, They can't figure out what the enemy is trying to do. The Russians deploy a tank as a distraction, but that became clear later. Right now, the Ukrainian armed forces don't understand what's going on. And in a second direction, the Ukrainians see an MTLB. At the same time, another tank moves along a third axis. The Russians do this on purpose to force Ukrainian forces to spread out and then strike weaker defenses. Here's how. The first tank drives in a way that's totally unexpected and defies logic. See for yourself what he's doing. The AFU is in a state of misunderstanding. The Ukrainians use RPGs, FPV drones, and other weapons, but the Russian tank's modified armor holds up. It keeps advancing. After another direct hit, the tank simply starts backing up, firing at Ukrainian positions. But the main question remains: where are the rest of the Russian forces? Suddenly, a tank has been spotted pushing its way through a wooded area. It gets hit by a drone. By now, Ukrainian positions are attacked from 5 directions: 3 with armor, 2 with infantry. This is the tank spotted third, also distracting the Ukrainians. We see a Ukrainian drone taking aim and hitting it. The tank is confused and fires into nothing. The Russians had a great understanding of the terrain and sent tanks where it's hardest to hit them with ATGMs. An FPV drone strikes, but it doesn't stop the tank. It cuts through the tree line, using it as cover. There he is, among the trees. Once it reaches the trees, 4 more APCs roll up behind it. The tank gets critically close. Another tank appears. To stop them, the Ukrainians call in an armored group. An APC follows the tank's route. The Ukrainian group moves quickly and closes in. The Russian tank notices this and starts to retreat. A Ukrainian tank fires but misses. It's tough to hit a moving target from a moving Soviet-era tank. Meanwhile, Russian FPV drones strike the Ukrainian tank, forcing it to break off and return to base. After the second tank, Russian infantry on motorcycles and buggies moves out. About 20 motorcycles and 4 buggies, just on one flank. On another axis, 2 more MTLBs appear. The Russians spread out Ukrainian firepower this way. The Ukrainians are doing well. Their drone operators take out Russian armored vehicles, and artillery finds its targets. Look here. 1 well-placed round is enough to stop another Russian APC. On the third direction, 7 MTLBs are on the move. Look how many of them there are. Drones continue hitting the APCs. That's an exact hit. Now the Russians also deploy motorcycle and buggy infantry on this flank. Ukrainian heavy artillery joins the fight. Motorcyclists surge ahead. By the way, every third Russian soldier carries electronic warfare gear and a pump-action shotgun to counter FPV drones. The Ukrainians disable 1 MTLB out in the open. It can only go straight, so once it stops, the Russians abandon it. Drones with explosives are already waiting. A swarm of FPV drones targets the motorcyclists. The operator forces them to ditch their bikes. Only when he's sure they're exposed does he strike, brief pause, or fade out if desired. Right after the motorcycles, the buggies roll in. A drone hits one of them. The buggy goes up in flames. Its ammo and gear start detonating. With most of their mobile and armored assets lost, the Russian infantry is left without support. The Ukrainians have been watching them the whole time, and as you can see, the enemy doesn't even suspect anything. Strike drones move in. The infantry is halted. Enemy vehicles destroyed. Another assault has failed. The Russians keep attacking all along the front. Most of these assaults end in their defeat. But that doesn't stop them. In this particular operation, they lose all their tanks and APCs. First, a tank is hit. Then an APC runs into mines. The burning tank and APC keep going. But eventually the APC is taken out, and the tank falls prey to an FPV drone. It's a failure, topped off by a javelin strike, and a final blow to the APC. As soon as this vehicle reaches open ground, it's in trouble. After the first hit, it veers off the road. The second hit forces it to turn around. Flames shooting up around it. One more hit, and then a mine. Assault failed. What's next? Very soon, I'll post a video showing how the Ukrainians conduct their own assaults, so we can compare. What do you think? Will the armed forces of Ukraine surprise us, and why?